Thank you so much all for coming. It's really an honor having you all here, spending your Sunday here with me live. It's really, really amazing. So thank you so much for being here. I see a lot of you have your cameras off, and I would ask you to please turn your cameras on because I don't want this to be a monologue. I want us all to interact. So if you want to get the most out of this masterclass, I would ask you to just play full out, turn your camera on so I see your faces. It's so nice to see everyone's faces. It makes me feel as if I'm not alone, okay? And also, I would ask you to try to not multitask right now, okay? You're here for just 1 hour with me. So just playful out by turning on your camera and just be present here with me. I'm gonna share some valuable information with you, and I know that it could be truly life-changing for you. So just allow yourself this time. It's all yours. And yeah, let's begin. Now, before we start, I'm going to share, as I said, some information and knowledge on how to quit procrastination, right? This is what the topic is all about. And but before we do that, I want to just ask if I can share a little bit more about me, my story, my background, so you know why you should be listening even to me, right? So if it's okay with you to for me to share a little bit more about me, please type yes in the chat box. I'm looking to my right here because I see your screen. I see the screen, so I see all of you on cameras. Okay, seems like my camera is not working, Magda. Okay, no problem. As long as you are mindfully listening, that's all good. All right, Myrna says yes. All right, good. All right, so a little bit more about me, who I am. I am Darina, and I'm originally from Bulgaria, although I kind of consider myself a citizen of the world because I love traveling and I'm always kind of like in different places of the world. And also, I was a Guinness record procrastinator. Like I was struggling so much with procrastination. It was something crazy, right, for me personally. So like for me, I thought that there was something profoundly wrong with me because I had all of those ambitions, all of those goals, all of those dreams, and I couldn't get myself to do any of them. I couldn't get myself to follow through or on any of the promises I made for myself. I would just break my promises over and over and over again, and I didn't know like why was that happening. I felt as if I was outside of control. I really thought that I didn't have control over my life. And even when I kind of started getting coached, right? I told my coach back then, like, you don't understand. Like, there is something wrong with me. Okay. I was like, no, no, no. Like, I see what you're saying, but you don't understand. There is something wrong with me because I know what I need to be doing. Like, I'm aware of it. I'm just not doing it. Does any of you relate to what I'm saying? Type yes on the chat. Yeah, Louis is nodding his head. Yeah, so I was trying to convince her like that I had some profound major procrastination problem that I just could not fix. Okay. And yeah, so then I reached to a point that I kind of wasted, I'm not going to say waste because I don't like that word, like 2 years of my life. And actually, if you wouldn't mind me sharing, I have like a little journal that I keep all of my kind of thoughts and everything I've been through. I have it all written down here. So if you don't mind me sharing, I'll just read a little passage that I wrote back then, that was about 2 years ago, of how profoundly disappointed and hopeless I felt with my procrastination problem. Is that okay? It's a quick one. I'm not going to take too much of your time. Okay. So some of the things that I wrote here were things like, it's a good thing that I actually kept a journal, right? Because I could actually track back my process and my journey. So think like it's May 1st, 2021. The time seems to be flying. I'm chased by all of those things I'd planned to do for a month, and they're still sitting there unrealized. Things like the first time I thought about having a life coaching business was October 2020. Now it's 6 months later, and I still haven't done anything about it. Time passes by, and I'm not doing anything with my dreams. I think the worst one was when I was just, where was that? Okay, give me just a second. Oh yeah, it's been almost 2 years since I graduated. And these 2 years in which I could have written a book, I could have learned how to play a new instrument, I could have set up my business. Well, I could have earned some money. But I've spent the past 2 years starting things, getting passionate about them, and leaving them unfinished. I have so many documents with a couple of sentences written of what was supposed to be a book or an article, but that's what they still are, just a couple of sentences, never finished, never given the chance to become something else. The guitar is gathering dust since the last and only time I touched it. The microphone is only getting in my way, reminding me of the decisions I could have made, but I never did. I'm consciously ignoring to start my life coaching business and to turn it into something meaningful for me. Here I am again, watching a movie about topics that inspire me. I feel super passionate and determined, and then the energy and motivation quickly dissipates. And then I go on and on and on to kind of just, describe how disappointed I am with myself. So does any of that kind of sound familiar to you? Sounds like me at the moment, time running through my fingers, courses I never even started. Yes, Magda, I totally understand. And it almost feels like it's something outside of your control. It feels like you almost can't do much about it. And that's like the worst part, right? Because we are conscious of what we are not doing. And that hurts even more. But luckily, you're all here, and I'm so thankful because I'm going to teach you exactly how to not waste even one more day of your life. Okay, so what I found eventually after I hit rock bottom and I got so frustrated with myself that I'm wasting my time, I kind of I kind of took some decisions that led me to different decisions, that led me to take certain actions and steps that helped me eventually really, really beat procrastination. And when I reverse engineered back to what I did, I figured that there are just only really 4 reasons why people procrastinate, and that's about it. So can you guys guess what those reasons might be? Like, can you just throw some ideas out there in the chat box? What do you think could be something that is holding you back, that is causing you to procrastinate? Why is not strong enough? Yes, 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 Luca. That's actually one of the reasons. Fear of failure. Very good. Yes. Yes. Okay. So first of all, don't mind my handwriting, okay? But I'm gonna write some things here for you. Can you see here perfectly? Is it readable? Perfectionist. Okay, good. Yes, perfectionist. That was me, and I'm gonna tell you later on about that. All right. So 4 reasons why people procrastinate. Reason number 1 is lack of clarity. That's something that so many people are missing, and it's so simple. It's so simple that people overlook it. It's so simple that like people like us who are like big time procrastinators, we are like, come on, that cannot be possibly my problem. Like my problem is so much deeper than that, it couldn't possibly be that. But the thing is that like it's crazy how many people haven't even defined their vision for the future. They never actually set any goals, and they are wondering why they procrastinate. Okay, but where are you going? Where are you going? It's so simple. And when I found out about, because I'm reading a lot of personal development books, a lot of self-help books, and everybody is talking about that, right? Like you need to have a vision, you need to have a goal, you need to have that. And I've always been kind of like, yeah, okay, that's like too simple, it's not for somebody like me. Like I know better than that. But then I was like, okay, if it's been already 2 years in which I can't beat my procrastination patterns, maybe I should open myself up to hear something that I've ignored in the past, because these are all successful people who are talking about that, right? It's not like a secret. They're talking about that. And if they say that and they're like much more successful than I am, and they're like multi-millionaires and billionaires, maybe I should listen. So then I started like developing my vision and all of that kind of stuff. And that is really a game changer. I'm telling you guys, if you're like me, you'll be like a bit skeptical, especially if you feel like your procrastination problem is like so profound. You might think that this is not an important step, but it's so freaking important. And let me tell you why. Because if you start building a house, and you don't know what you're doing, I mean, you don't know what kind of house you're building, and you're just like kind of like putting bricks there. You're putting bricks there, and somebody comes and asks you, what are you doing? You're like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, isn't that a bit crazy? I mean, you need to have a blueprint for your house before you start putting bricks. Otherwise, you're just like a crazy person who doesn't know where the hell they're going, right? You need to know where you are going. So let me ask you this question. When should you start building a house? That's actually something I've heard from Jim Rohn. I don't know if any of you know who Jim Rohn is. He's this amazing, amazing personal development, revolutionary guy. When should you start building a house? As soon as it's finished. This is when you should start building a house. So if we don't have vision for the future, any type of vision, we also don't have any goals. And if we don't have any goals, we don't have any priorities, right? And if we don't have our priorities straight, we are just mindlessly doing all sorts of unimportant things on a daily basis because we just don't know what else to do. We don't have our priorities straight. We don't have goals. We don't have a vision. Okay, so how many of you have actually written out a vision for their future? Can you tell me how many of you have done that? I did. Okay. No. Okay. So some of you have written that vision. Some of you haven't written that vision. And that is okay in my mind, but procrastinating to put it on paper. All right. Yeah. So in your mind is not enough. You have to put it down on a piece of paper because your mind is not reliable to store information. You need to put it on a piece of paper. I want you guys to write down one question. And I want you, after the masterclass, because now we won't have time to do that, but the question I want you to answer and then build your whole vision around is the following. All right, so this is the question I want you to write down in your journals or your notebooks and then answer it in your spare time. If I could create any kind of life and I knew I wouldn't fail, what would my life look like? And there are no limits to what you can achieve. Absolutely no limits. You know you won't fail. You know you won't lose any people that you love along the way. And there are absolutely no limits. What would your life look like? Dream big, okay? We have to dream big. And the thing is that, you know, if you have a very compelling vision for your future that really gives you almost goosebumps when you think about it, then you really are unstoppable. And that compelling vision for your future like needs to excite you so much and almost makes you scared. It needs to be that big. You know, T. Harv Eker, I don't know if any of you know who that is. He's the author of the Secrets of the Millionaire Man. He says, if you shoot for the stars, you will at least hit the moon. But many people are shooting only for the ceiling in their house. So we need to dream big. You need to shoot for the moon, okay? And at this point in my coaching practice, when I teach people how to build their vision and things like that, that's going to be so compelling. It's going to give them goosebumps, so they're going to be propelled into action. They tell me, yeah, that's all good, vision, yeah. But I want to know how to deal with the no goosebump stuff. I want to know how to deal with the boring stuff. And I'm like, okay, let me ask you this question. Like, why would you even be wanting to do that, right? Like, if you have a compelling enough vision, you wouldn't have to deal with the boring stuff. And here's the most important question, guys. Why do you even want to beat procrastination, really? Is it because so you can effortlessly do the boring things? Or is it because deep down inside of you, you know you're born for so much more, you know you have so much freaking potential, you know you're total rock star, and you feel frustrated with yourself for not utilizing all of that potential? Isn't that the reason why you want to beat procrastination? Because deep down inside of you, you know you have so much capacity to grow, to expand, to serve, to do all of the amazing things that you're born to do. You're not here to do the boring stuff. You're here to do amazing things. Okay, so if you know deep down inside of you that you're amazing, I want you to point at yourself right now and say, I'm amazing. Come on, everyone. I am amazing. Say it to yourself. I'm amazing. Say it to the person next to you virtually. You are amazing. You are amazing. Everyone is amazing. We're all born here to thrive, not to survive. And I'm sure that's why you want to beat procrastination. We don't want to do the boring fucking stuff, okay? Although I'm going to teach you how to deal with the less pleasant tasks in a little bit, okay? So that's about the vision. Now, reason number two. I think was it Luca who said why is not strong enough? Luca said that. Yes. Okay. That is true. Okay. So the second reason is poor reasons why. I call them poor because some people have reasons why they do certain things, but they're just poor reasons. They are not really good reasons, right? So knowing why you do something is going to naturally propel you into action. Okay, I'm just reading the chat so I can see I don't miss anything as well. Knowing why you do something is going to naturally propel you into action. And here's something I want you all to understand, and if you write it down if you want to as well. Motivation is a myth. Motivation is simply, sorry for my writing, a reason why you do something. That's it. Motivation is simply a reason why you do something. That's it. I hear some people tell me, I really want to have this motivation that successful people do. They just wake up in the morning and they naturally feel motivated. And they make it seem as if it's like this gift that only a few people have in the world. That's how it seems. Like motivation is just for the very few lucky ones out there that are gonna, have that motivation. And that's not true. Successful people know why they're waking up in the morning. They know why they're doing what they're doing, okay? Motivation is like a wave. You ride it while it lasts. Yeah. And like life happens. Sometimes we lose motivation, but that is why we remind ourselves for the reasons why, right? I don't know who said that motivation is like a shower. It doesn't last. That's why we have to do it over and over again, right? I don't know how the quote went, but it was something like that. So that's exactly what motivation is. It's just simply a reason why you do something. Okay. So I want to show you like a little circle that's going to help you, that's going to illustrate that and help you understand it better. So we have a circle. It's called the golden circle. In the middle, we have why. Here we have the how. And here we have the what. Now, so many people start with the what, right? What they need to do. And they're trying to, like baiting, yeah, somebody, Catherine, Zig Ziglar, it's like baiting, you have to do it every day. Yes, I love that one, it's very good. So many people start from the what, right? What they need to do. I need to write a paper, I need to call someone, I need to, I don't know, take a shower, whatever. And they don't even ask themselves why. Okay, so for example, we've all been to school, I suppose. Oh my gosh, just a second, guys, my laptop is not charging. I want to make sure it doesn't die. Okay, good. Where was I? Oh yeah, so for example, in school, we've all been taught to read a book, right? In the summer, you have to read that book, like Shakespeare, whatever. And they tell us, okay, you need to read the book, the what? Let's say book. Then they tell us, perhaps somehow they might tell us how to do it. Okay, for example, you're going to highlight the things that speak to you and read chapter by chapter, whatever. Like they might tell us the process. But if you ask the teacher, why do I need to read that? They'll be like, well, because I said so, because it's part of the curriculum. Why? What do you mean why? Like, because I said so. How is that motivation for us to read the fucking book? I mean, guys, come on. I don't know about you, but that's like a very, very, very bad reason for me to do something just because somebody told me not to do it. It's like, no, not really. But if I ask you, hey, do you want to know the exact steps that are going to make you rich and successful within a year from now, that are going to make you get out of debt, buy the dream house that you want, and whatever. If that's something that you want, you'll be like, yes, how do I do that? What do I need to do? And I can tell, okay, great. Then you can read the book Think and Grow Rich, right? For example, Think and Grow Rich. And I might tell you how to do that. Well, you can find it on Audible, you can find it on Amazon, whatever, right? I can tell you the how. But if I don't start with the why, you wouldn't have motivation to read Think and Grow Rich. Why would you read it? You don't have a motivation. It's the same thing with the things we do on a daily basis. And that is why we need a vision, and that is why we need the goals. So when we write down our vision, and then we find our goals, what we need to do is find all the reasons why we want to achieve that. And it's not simply enough to just be like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind having $1 million. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, good. But that's like, that's never going to propel you into action. You need to have a fucking reason why you want to do it. And it's one thing to say like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind having like $1 million in the bank. It's a completely different thing to say, I want to be able to not stress about having to afford my children's education or to pay my bill, even if it's not $1 million, if it's just like just being financially free or financially independent, right? That's like a goal that is worth pursuing if you want to achieve all of those things, right? I want to be able to pay for my children's education. I want to be able to not pass down the burden of financial stress down the generations, right? That's my goal, for example. I want to be able to provide all of that for my children and them to provide that for their children and break that wealth paradigm that my family has created. That's a worthy goal for me. And not only that, I'll be able to help so many more people to do the same if I do it first, right? I can lead the way and find the way to do it for myself so I can lead the way. That's a worthy goal for me. So you need to find what is the worthy goal for you. What is the worthy why for you? Like a good example is with the gym, right? Like, oh, I can't find motivation to get up and go to the gym or run. Like, ask yourself, why do I want to do it in the first place? That's something, by the way, that I live by. Every action that I take, every decision that I make, every word that I say, I ask myself, what is the intention behind what I'm doing? What is the intention? If the intention is good enough, then I'm prepared to take the action. And also this is a way to minimize doing unimportant things, right? Like the 80-20 principle, do only the things that move the needle forward for you. And those are only just like 20% of the things you're actually doing, right? If I don't know how many of you are aspiring entrepreneurs or business owners here, but oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought just now. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna say that if you are kind of like self-employed, and then you might have found yourself building your website, making like a pretty page, doing like, that's what I was doing for 2 years. Okay, I was trying to make my website perfect, and guess what? Right now I don't even have a website because I don't need it. All of the people that I need that I work with find me in different ways, but that's like not what we are talking about right now. So that's the 80-20 principle. Do only the work that is important and that is moving the needle forward to your desired goal. Okay, so also something important I want to share is why finding a strong enough reason is super, super important to beat procrastination and to find your motivation and to achieve success and achieve your goals. It's because your mind is divided kind of like metaphorically in two. Here you have your conscious mind. That is responsible for your willpower. It is responsible for your critical thinking. It's responsible for your logical thinking as well. It's responsible for your short-term memory. Okay, and then, by the way, this is supposed to be an iceberg. I mean, I don't know if that's what it looks like, but let me just make sure that you know what that is. And here you have your subconscious mind, okay? Your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is responsible for your emotions, your habits, your, what else? Your intuition, your beliefs, your long-term memory, etc., etc., etc. Now, the most important point, don't write smaller than that. Okay. Oh, all right. So, so your subconscious mind is responsible for 90% of your life, of your consciousness. Your conscious mind is only responsible for 10%. That's it. Everything that you do on a daily basis, your behaviors are all driven by your subconscious mind. So that's why beating procrastination with willpower is never going to work. Why? Because you're trying to influence that 90% with the 10% here. It's never going to work. Sometimes you get that kind of drive and you're like, yes, now I'm going to change my life. This is the day, blah, blah, blah. You exert a little bit of willpower and then your energy and your motivation just quickly dissipates down. And that's because you can't influence the 90% with 10%. So that's why we need to have an emotional connection to our dreams. So all of the reasons why we want to do something, they need to bring certain emotion within us. It needs to be emotionally connected. So, so that's why when you think about what's going to be my life if I create the life that I want, right? And then you can think about all the nice things that will come out of it, right? Like the pleasurable things. But something that is also very, very, what do you call that? Something that is very driving for us is also the emotion of pain. Okay, so pain could be a very powerful motivator to do something. Like we as human beings, we are driven much more to avoid pain rather than to attain pleasure. Okay, so you might be thinking, oh, that it's going to be so nice if I have so much money in my bank that I can travel the world and do this and do that. That's amazing. And if that works for you and it creates that like zest and that hunger within you, that's amazing. But what I found is that power and that pain and urgency can be actually much more powerful drives for you, right? Pain and urgency. Pain and urgency. So you can ask yourself that question. That's what actually helped me really beat my procrastination patterns. Not only that, but that was like a very big one for me. I was thinking, you know what? I've spent 2 years procrastinating, not doing what I really would love to be doing. I have all of those dreams. I really want to achieve them, and it's going to be amazing to achieve them. But time is going to pass anyway. That's a big one. That was a big one for me. Like, because when you say to somebody, for example, if you want to be successful, you need to spend at least like 5 years to become like an expert in your field and really be good at what you're doing, and just like create all the wealth that you desire. And you might like need 5 to 10 years to create the life that you want. Like that success sometimes takes that much. But think about that. Time is going to pass anyway. You're either going to be successful and an expert in your field within the 5 or 10 years, or you won't be. It's your choice. So the pain, the avoiding of pain for me was that, what would be the alternative of me not attaining financial freedom? What would be the alternative? What would be the alternative of me not even creating comfortable life for me financially? Well, the alternative would be for me to experience mini panic attacks every time I swipe my card on a POS, canceling plans with friends because I can't afford it, looking at all of those like amazing destinations that I want to go to and not being able to afford it and feeling so bad. And the worst one of them all, like that's the biggest drive for me, is one day when I have children. I don't have children anymore. Like, I don't want to pass down that burden onto them, because my parents passed their burden onto me. I mean, I'm not blaming them for that, but it's just, I remember how the topic of money, how stressful it was for us, right? I don't want to do that to my children. And that for me is a painful alternative. And I know that it's up to me to change that. And that's a very important thing, guys. Like, it's all up to you. It's in your hands to change your life. It's nobody else's hands. It's not in my hands. It's not in your parents' hands. It's not in anybody's hands. It's in your hands. In your hands only. So that was a painful alternative for me. So think about that. If I don't achieve my vision, if I don't achieve my desires, what am I then choosing to experience? Because if you don't choose one thing, you're choosing another. Every decision that you make, you're not making another, if that makes sense. So what is the alternative? What is or let's say, what is the painful alternative of you not achieving your desired goal? And I want to also mention one more thing here, because maybe some of you can relate. I was kind of thinking, when I was like procrastinating and dealing with all of that like struggles, I was kind of thinking that somehow my future self is going to take care of everything. I don't know why. I was kind of thinking, yeah, I mean, things are going to just kind of fall into place somehow. And that didn't happen, okay? And it's not going to happen for you either. I'm sorry to bring it up to you, but it's not going to happen for you. I had to consciously take the decision to change something, because I got to the point where I understood that nobody's going to change it for me. I have to change it for myself. I have to take certain action, right? I have to do something about that procrastination. So there's this thing that we believe that our future self is somehow almost like a stranger. He's almost like a different person who knows better than we do, who has more skills than we do, who just have it all figured out. But that person is you. So if your present self right now doesn't take care of your future self is going to be in the same place like you are right now. Think about that. And think about that. Time will pass anyway. It's up to you what you do with that time. Okay. All right. Let me just check here if I'm missing something on that point. Oh yeah, I wanna finish with just one amazing quote that I love. It's by Earl Nightingale. Success is Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. That's what success is. And that's why you need to remind yourself of your why every single day. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So you have the worthy ideal. That's your why. Something that's really, really, really drives you. That's your why. And then you progressively realize it on a daily basis. You remind yourself every time you have a procrastination trigger. That's what I call, I'll talk about that in a bit. You remind yourself of why are you going to take that action and be consistent with it. Okay, it's amazing quote. I love it very much. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Now, reason number 3. We are almost in the end. Okay, reason number 3 is it's a faulty belief system. You might have your vision, it's all good. You might have your why, it's all good. And you might still procrastinate. Why would you do that? What I figured out, I'm sorry, it touched my microphone. I hope you didn't hear that. What I've figured out about myself is that in order to stay committed, and what I found about other people too, in order to stay committed, you need to believe that your efforts are leading somewhere, and not only somewhere, but to your dream life. Let me repeat that. If you have to be consistent with something and follow through, you need to believe that your efforts matter. You're actually going somewhere. So let me ask you this question. Would you be all excited and jolly and motivated if you knew that it doesn't matter anyway because you won't succeed? How excited would you be to keep going, to keep doing something that you just know that it doesn't really matter? You won't succeed anyway. Not very excited. Exactly. And that was my case, and that's I found the case for many people. So I want to share this with you. Let's say this is how we operate our lives, how our subconscious mind actually drives everything, how our beliefs are driving our actions. So imagine that your goal is to launch a successful business, right? That's your goal here. You have your vision, you have your why, everything is perfect. And then you do all of those things. This is, by the way, a tree. This is all of the things that you do to help you get there, right? Like you take courses, you watch YouTube videos, you get coached, you learn marketing strategies, you do all of those things, right? But then right here at the root of everything, you think there is no point anyway. That's your belief. And it might stem from different things. It could be something like people like me don't get to succeed. I come from a poor family. Nobody in my family that achieved such success. I don't know how to do it. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. It doesn't matter anyway. There's no point. So all of the actions that you take after that won't matter ever. You might get a little bit of results and then you would fail again and again and again until you change this belief that is the foundation of everything else that you do. So why I wanted to say that? Well, because you might not be aware of the thought that is driving your behavior, but your brain knows what's happening there, and it's going to kind of just stop you from being motivated and consistent. It's kind of like, why would you even get motivated if you believe that there's no point, right? I mean, who would do that? Why would you put in the bricks mindlessly if you know that the house is never going to be built? Or it doesn't matter anyway, right? You won't succeed with building that house. You're not good enough to build that house. And so a belief like that can keep us stuck in inaction. It keeps us stuck in starting something, getting excited about it. Like that was the case with me, right? I would get excited about starting a life coaching business. I would get all like, oh yes, that's going to be it. I'm going to motivate people. I'm going to do all of that, blah, 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 blah. And then the foundation of everything, I believe that first of all, I believed I was not good enough to do any of that. And second of all, I believe that people like me don't succeed. That was my belief. People like me don't succeed. I come from a poor family from Eastern Europe. The people here, we don't achieve this stuff. Like it's possible for other people, it's not possible for me. That was my belief. So then the one belief, the one thought that changed everything for me was a thought that I want you to create a mantra around, an affirmation around, and repeat it to yourself every single day. And that is, let me ask you as a question. What if you knew that your success was inevitable? How would you show up differently in the world? How would you show up every day if you knew that your success is inevitable? There was no chance you won't achieve that vision of yours. No chance you can fail. How would you show up differently? Tell me, type in the chat box. Does that like resonate with you? Does it land? What if you believe your success is inevitable? Unstoppable. Yes, exactly. You'll be unstoppable. But here's the thing. Your success is inevitable. And I'll tell you why. Your success is inevitable because there is no chance in the world you can fail if you keep going. A failure is only a failure if you pronounce it as a failure. If you stop, then you fail. If you don't stop, you don't fail. You eventually achieve your goal. How do somebody achieve a goal? They try again, then they try again, and then they achieve the goal. Failure is only feedback. It's not something that has to stop you from continuing to try. So like, here's an example that I love very much, like Thomas Edison, when he was trying to figure out how a light bulb would work and an electricity would work, he would go and he would try hundreds of times and he would fail every single time until one of the last time he created a whole explosion in his basement. And then his friend told him, like, you have to stop, like, you're crazy, like, don't you see it doesn't work, like, you failed, like, you created an explosion, like, just stop. And he's like, no, I didn't fail, I just found the 100th way that something didn't work. I didn't fail. And then he tried again, and then he figured it out, and because of him right now I have lighting because he didn't stop. So failure is only feedback. Okay, failure is feedback. That's what it is. Okay. And one thing that I also found to be true is people think that we fear failure. I think Yakiel said fear of failure. But you know what is actually more true than that? People don't fear failure, because if we think about it, we already fail if we don't try. Like, you're already a failure if you don't try to achieve your dreams. We fear success much more than failure, because deep down inside, we know we are capable of so much more, and that scares us. We're afraid of how much potential we have. We don't know what to do with it. We are afraid of success much more than failure. Does anybody resonate with that, by the way? I'm really curious if we have somebody on the call who is more scared of seeing how much they're capable of rather than failing. Because here's the thing, guys, like if you're scared to fail, like imagine that you're on the bottom of a mountain and then you're afraid to go up because you're afraid that you might fail. But if you don't ever even try to go up, you're already failed because you're still at the bottom. You never even tried to go up, right? So even if you went up to the top and then fell down, you would be right at the exact same place you are if you don't try. So we might at least try and see what we're capable of. So about the beliefs, this is how your brain basically works. Everything that you do or don't do is driven by a thought. And right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share how we can find this thought, your thought, exactly what is the thought that's stopping you from taking action, and we're gonna change that. Okay, so what I'm going to teach you now is a tool or technique called the model. The model is super powerful tool that I use also with my one-on-one clients. That is definitely the only thing you need to quit procrastination, and not only procrastination, to get rid of any destructive habits that you have or achieve anything that you want. Is really powerful. Okay, so here how the model looks like. Here we have 5 lines, right? Everything that's going on in your life can fit in one of those lines. First, we have circumstance. Then we have thoughts. Then we have feelings. Then we have action or inaction. And then we have results. Now, the circumstances in your life are the only thing from this model that you can't control. Everything else from here to here is all up to you. Your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your results. So the circumstances are always neutral things that happen in our life. We don't have control over it, and it doesn't mean anything apart from the meaning that we give it. Like, for example, a circumstance could be something like outside is 5 degrees, right? But a circumstance is not an opinion, is not outside is cold, right? Because for me, it might be cold, for you, it might be hot. So a circumstance is always factual, right? It's always factual. Now, the circumstances can cause certain thoughts we have. The thoughts are nothing else but just sentences in our head. That's it. Just sentences in our head. The thoughts always drive our feelings, always cause us to feel certain emotion. And the emotion that we feel, let me just take this, I think is better. The feelings are only vibrations in the body. That's what they are, nothing else. Then and then the feelings drive our actions or inactions, and our actions drive our results. Okay, so right now what we are dealing with is this line. We are dealing with the line of inaction. All of us here are not taking action, so we need to figure out what the hell is going on, right? Why are we not taking action? So in order for us to do that, we have to find what is the feeling and then what is the thought causing it, right? So just to give you a little example with my, I hope you guys understood that. Okay, so right here, I actually prepared my very first model. When I first learned about it, when I was procrastinating, my very first model that I wrote, I'm gonna give an example so you can understand. So okay, so we have C, T, F, okay. So my action was inaction, right? I'm going to even read what I wrote here. My current action is inaction. I'm postponing putting myself out there and establishing myself as a coach. Or more specifically, I am not recording the videos and I'm not signing clients. I delay the moment. I delay the moment. That's my inaction. Okay. We have to be specific. Right before, and then I ask myself, right, the model, right before I don't take that action, what am I feeling, right? And here I wrote, right before I delay putting myself out there, I feel fear. What is that fear? The emotion that I'm experiencing is fear. So what am I thinking when I feel afraid? Right there, when I'm feeling that fear, what am I thinking? I'm thinking that I am not good enough yet. So the thought is, I am not good enough. That's my thought. So you see how that thought of I'm not good enough is driving everything else that I do. I'm not good enough is causing me to feel fear. And then that fear is causing me to stay in inaction. Okay. And then when I feel afraid, I'm not good enough yet. My program is not perfect. Somebody mentioned about perfectionism. That was exactly me. My program is not good enough yet. I'm not good enough yet. Nothing is perfect enough to be worthy of somebody's time or money. And then I feel afraid to be ashamed, embarrassed, or humiliated. That was my model. So when I'm thinking that I'm not good enough, I avoid being humiliated. I avoid getting that like very unpleasant emotion that I expect, which is humiliation, embarrassment, etc. And that is why I just stay in the safe place of inaction. So what I want you to do right now, I hope you understand all of that. Do you guys let me know in the chat box, please, if you understand, just type yes. So I make sure you, okay. Okay, good. So what I want you to do right now, because we want to make this as profound as possible, is to take 2 minutes and write this on a piece of paper. Write your own model. I want you to write CTFAR. Right now we are not dealing with the circumstance, but take one specific example of something that you've been procrastinating on for a while, something that you haven't been taking action on, that is really nagging right there somewhere in your mind that you really want to do, but you can't get yourself to do. Just create your own model. See what is your inaction, what is the emotion that you're feeling right before you don't take the action, right? Because if you think about, oh yeah, I want to do that, right before you decide, because it's always a conscious choice, at least choice, you decide to not take the action. What is the feeling, and then what is the thought that is causing that feeling? Please take 2 minutes right now and write down your own models on a piece of paper. And then I would love if you guys share with me, if somebody can unmute themselves and share their model, that'll be awesome. We can check that together. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Anybody found anything interesting? Who would like to share their model? Are you guys ready, or you need a couple more minutes? Okay, Catherine, let me see if I can unmute you. Can you speak? I think I already unmuted you.
Yeah.
I can't hear you though. Hello, team Procrastination. Can you help me with that?
Yeah, I'm
I'm not sure how to make it work.
Okay.
Okay, well, then it's just me. Oh, okay, got it. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for coming up. Hi, Catherine. Share your with us.
Yeah, so my inaction is a bit similar to yours, putting myself out there, daily creation and posting of content on social media.
Okay.
And sort of the feeling behind that is, it's fear. And the thought is that I have nothing new or interesting to say that anybody would want to read or hear from me.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, actually. Thank you for sharing. This is a big one, guys. Like, I don't have anything to share that somebody would want to hear. Now, I want you to ask yourself this question. Is that really true? Like, if we have to consider the circumstances of circumstance, right? Because so many times we confuse a thought, which is always optional, by the way. Okay, guys? A thought is always optional. Sometimes we might think that a thought is a circumstance because we thought it so many times for so long that we might believe it's the truth. But here's the question. If you go out there and ask 20 people if they agree with you, would they all agree? Would they say that this is the complete fact or no? Is it really true is the question.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do right now is imagine that. Right now we are in this amazing shop, okay? And we are fitting clothes and everything is fun, and you have all of those fitting rooms, okay? And on the hangers around us are hanging thoughts. Instead of clothes, there are all sorts of thoughts. And then we would just try some of them out to see how that feels, okay? We are not buying them yet. We are just trying to see how they feel, okay? So right now, we are going to take that thought off of you, like nobody wants to hear what I have to say, and we're going to try a different one. What if we try the thought of, if I speak, so many people are going to benefit from what I have to say. I have so much value to offer to the world. How would that feel?
Yeah, good and a little bit scary.
Okay, and when it feels good, what is that gonna make you do differently? If you know that there are people out there that are really waiting to hear what you have to say, they're waiting for you to receive transformation. How's that gonna make you feel? And what are you gonna do differently?
Yeah, it's gonna make you feel good and valued, and I want to share more.
Okay, and how are you gonna show up differently then?
Yeah, I suppose I'm gonna show up with more confidence and passion, maybe more frequently, perhaps with a bit more excitement, a different energy.
Okay, that's amazing. And when you show up in that way and you start taking all those actions that you're currently not taking, like posting content, putting yourself out there, what kind of results is that going to create in your life? What kind of results?
Well, that's going to create connections, because people will perhaps comment on those or get into conversations with them that would lead to be serving them in some way and potentially even lead to sales.
Exactly. So ultimately, you would start living a life that you really love to live, right? You're going to be creating your dream life. So that's the thing, guys. A thought is, thank you so much, Catherine. A thought is always optional. You have to understand that. What Catherine shared with us right now, although it may seem as if it's so true for her right now, and that's only because she's been conditioned with some past things and she has limiting beliefs, she can choose consciously to change that belief. As we try the clothes right now and the thoughts, she can try and fix what would feel better so she can show up in a different way, so she can create a different result in her life. And here's something also very important. Your results are always going to give evidence for the thoughts. That is evidence. So the more you think some certain thought, for example, for me, the thought was, I'm not good enough. I feel fear. Therefore, I'm not taking action. And therefore, the result that I create in my life is not having my business up and running because I haven't taken action, right? So this result of, look, I'm not, I haven't, I'm not living my dream life is going to just perpetuate the thought of, yeah, you see, I'm not good enough. You see, I knew it, because your brain is always is always gonna want to be right. That's the thing about the ego. It's always gonna want to be right. And when I was procrastinating so much, and when I told you that, I told my coach about that, like, you don't understand. There's something wrong with me. That was like a thought that I had, and I believed that there was something really wrong with me. And she's like, told me back then, and then I realized that I was creating that evidence for myself by believing that thought over and over and over again. You see, I have a problem, a very big procrastination problem. I feel hopeless, for example, then I don't take action, and the result that I create in my life are going to just give me more evidence that I have a problem. You see, I told you I have a problem. And so many of us do that. But what if you choose to believe something else? What if you choose to believe something that is more empowering? And that's the thing about human beings. We make so much drama out of something that is so simple. Our brain loves to overcomplicate things, because right now I can tell you, hey, you know what, you can actually change your thought and change your whole problem. You won't think it's that simple. You want to embody a different identity, because you would feel freaked out, because that's not familiar, right? That's something else. That's something different. But here's something actually that I've learned from my coach that really, really changed so much for me, and I want to share it with you guys. I'm gonna write it just here. Is I'm actually not gonna write it. I'm just gonna tell you. The most valuable and the most probably difficult thing that you can learn how to do is to believe something about yourself that you have no evidence for yet. The most valuable thing you can do is to believe something that you don't have evidence for yet about yourself. So many of us identify as procrastinators. We identify as losers, even, right? We have this like super judgmental self-talk. Every time we don't follow through with something, we would just beat ourselves up. We would judge ourselves. It would just be like so bad, right? And because we do it on a daily basis, we do it so often, we don't even recognize that we're doing it anymore. We think it's something normal, and that is just creating an identity that is not serving us. So if you want to do something else with your life, you have to become a different person. The current version of you, who is not yet living your dream life, not putting yourself out there, not creating content, Catherine, you're depriving the world from the value that you have to give. And that's only because you believe that nobody has anything to benefit from what you have to say. But this is only your thought. This is only your belief. And you get to choose what to believe. It's totally optional. Okay. So if you embody that, you have to ask yourself, who is that version of me who has created what I want to have in my life? What does she or he believe about themselves, right? How do they act in the world? What kind of feelings do they have? Do they feel afraid? And if they feel afraid, what do they do about it? Or do they feel excited? What kind of thoughts do they have? It's so important. Like this, for me, it was a game changer, right? And the way you can start shifting your thoughts and start shifting what you believe is true about you is by starting by creating some mantras for yourself. I know it sounds cliche, and I know so many of you have heard about affirmations, and you might not like believe in them so much. But let me tell you something. There is a reason why people talk about that so much, because it works. Okay. People talk about it because it works. So consider the possibility of embodying an identity of somebody that you are not yet. Because who you are right now is nothing else but just like an accumulation of beliefs that you have gathered in the past. Somebody has told you, maybe Catherine had some experience when she was like younger, that maybe somebody like snapped at her when she was trying to say something. She felt like, oh my gosh, nobody wants to listen to what I have to say. It could be something that stupid or something much more profound. It could be like trauma, emotional abuse. It could be many things. But it's like that one thing that have created that thought back in the days for you that you took as the holy truth, and now you're believing it without even questioning it. What I want you guys to do is question your beliefs. Don't believe a word that your brain is telling you. Don't believe a word that your brain is telling you. Question it. So from now on, you can use that model to actually check in with yourself to see when you're about to not do something, what is happening? What are you thinking? What is the thought driving your behavior? And then the circumstances, that is like, okay, a circumstance could be something like, oh, here's a good one. So, you know, so many times I've heard, for example, a client who told me, I procrastinate because I have to, in order for me to launch my business, I have to research everything. That was his thought. I have to research everything. And I'm like, really? Everything? He's like, yes, everything. And I'm like, really? Everything? Yes, everything. And I'm like, wow, that's going to take you a lifetime to do because everything is a lot. And here, like, it sounds like a very innocent thought. Like, I have to research everything. We say this stuff to ourselves, right? But the circumstance or the fact, it could be something totally different. It could be, actually, I need to research exactly 4 types of marketing strategies, and I have to learn how to make a website. That's not everything. These are like 5 things. Okay. So you have to quantify the things that you actually need to do because your brain is going to make it seem as if it's so much more than it actually is. And he was so convinced, because he was thinking that thing so long, that's so much that he really thought that this is the fact. That's the circumstance. I need to research everything. And I'm like, dude, no, you have to research like 5 things. It's fine. Don't make it seem so big. Reminds me of The Secret and the Law of Attraction. But it is like it's related. Like, guys, like, we're all connected. Like, everything is energy, right? Like, whatever we put out there comes back to us. Like, right now we are all vibing on a certain frequency, so whatever you put out there is going to show up in your life. Whatever you focus on expands. That's just how it works. It's energetics. But we're not going to get into that right now. So yeah, so ask yourself, before I don't do something, what emotion am I experiencing, and what is the thought that is causing that emotion? And quantify the things. If you say something like, oh yeah, I just have to do so much, how much? Tell me exactly how much. Don't make it seem more than it actually is. All right. And then there is the 5th reason, guys, that people procrastinate. And this is inability to manage their emotions. It's not the time management, it's the emotional management. What I mean by that. So procrastination is simply something that we do to avoid feeling certain emotion. That's it. That's it. So it's not a time management problem. It's an emotional regulation problem. So let's say Catherine needs to put herself out there, right? And then she feels that like very, very profound sense, feeling of fear. Like, I don't want to feel that because what if people judge me, blah, 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 blah. So in order for Catherine to push through that fear, she needs to first understand what the hell is happening and what fear is and how she can tame that fear, how she can conquer that fear. Now, many times we are more afraid of feeling the feeling of fear than the fear itself. Like right now, if I ask you guys, what does fear feel like? Can you tell me what the emotion of fear feels like? Some people might tell me something. Some people might have no idea what the hell fear feels like because we are so afraid to feel it. And the thing is that we are human beings here on this earth. We are made to feel a variety of emotions, and some of them are negative, some of them are positive. We are not here to feel only the positive emotions. But if you want to know how to really beat procrastination without using willpower, you have to learn how to manage your emotions. Because the moment you are willing to feel the negative emotions that you're trying so hard to escape from, everything's going to change for you. So, in the example with fear, as we said, fear on the previous page, fear is nothing else, like an emotion is nothing else but a vibration in your body. If you actually don't resist it, but let it pass through your body, it's gonna just feel a little bit of like fear is basically your heart is racing, your blood is pumping, it's going down to your muscles. Like, fear is what happens in our body when we prepare to either fight or flight, right? That's like the survival instincts response. So the blood goes down to your muscles, so you're ready to run if you need to, or fight and whatever. And that's it. It's a bit of adrenaline, but it's harmless. That's the thing. The emotions that we are so much trying to avoid, they're all harmless. They won't do anything to you if you just let them be. And the thing is that why does procrastination feel as though all right, Magda, thank you so much for being here. So the thing is that your brain, when your brain perceives a task as potentially unpleasant, is straight away gonna go to, nope, we're not doing that, right? Because it feels something that your brain needs to use a lot of energy for. So your primitive brain, your brain is made to keep you safe. It's made to keep you survive. It doesn't. It's not there to help you thrive. It's there to help you survive. So it's there to be quick and efficient. All right. So if something would require potentially a lot of energy, or it would be potentially dangerous, then your brain is going to go straight away to procrastination mode. It's going to go, nope, we're not doing that. If it's fear, if something feels scary, then it sees it as a threat, right? For example, in the case of Catherine, her brain doesn't know the difference between a tiger chasing her and somebody judging her for her content, for example. Like her fear response gets triggered. Her amygdala is the part of your brain that triggers that detects threat, and then it's going to go straight away and shut down. No, we are not doing that. We're staying right here where it's safe. But what I want you to consider is the possibility of allowing that emotion to be there instead of resisting it. Okay? What would happen if you are willing to feel the scary thing? If you actually let it be there? Or if it's not fear, it could be something like a feeling of boredom, a feeling of overwhelmed, right? Like our brain might think, oh my gosh, like my client, right? Oh, that I need to do everything. And then his brain goes to like, that's too much. I don't want to do that. That's going to like overwhelm me. So I'm not going to do that, right? But what if he let that feeling just kind of be there and be like, okay, actually that's not too bad, and actually I don't need to do everything, I just need to do 5 things. And yeah, it would be a little bit overwhelming, but what will happen if I don't resist it but I actually let it be here? And it's the same thing, like that's what I call procrastination urges, right? Like we get that urge to procrastinate. Our primitive brain wants us to not do that thing because it's just easier and more efficient. But we need to learn how to use our prefrontal cortex, which is our conscious mind, to override that response, right? Because that response used to serve us back in the days when we were like cave people and we had to really keep ourselves safe and avoid danger and things like that. But now it doesn't serve us anymore. Now it doesn't serve us anymore. Now it's just keeping us sticking in action, like, and that's the stat, right? Because like your brain is trying to keep you unconscious from feeling certain things. So then the solution to that is consciousness, right? The solution to that is allowing that procrastination urge to be there and not react to it and let it be. And when you know that this emotion is nothing else but just a vibration in your body, and by the way, every feeling lasts only 90 seconds in your body, and then it is over. Okay? If you think about that, you're like, wait a minute, what am I so afraid of? Like just to feel like a vibration in my body, like that doesn't sound so scary, right? So when you think about that, it's kind of almost like ridiculous. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are we making so much drama? Why our brain is making so much drama? When we separate the mind drama from the actual thing that we need to do, and then we kind of just zoom out and we're like, oh, I'm afraid to make that post because I'm gonna feel fear. Well, really? I mean, come on, right? So it feels like ages. What feels like ages? Okay. All right. Okay. So does that make sense, guys? Are we more afraid to feel the fear than the fear itself? What are we afraid of? Tell me. Feelings. We are afraid of feelings. Yes, 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 yes. And also, you can use that same methods of allowing the urge to be there to literally just quit any destructive habit that you have: smoking, over drinking, anything like that, overeating, binge eating, social media eating, whatever you're doing a lot more from. You are trying to avoid certain feeling. You're trying to avoid something. So how about we don't resist it, but we just let it be there? Like this, guys, is going to be the most life-changing skill that you can learn how to really master. Okay, this thing is going to help you in so many areas of your life, not just procrastination, absolutely everything. We are made to feel everything, not just the positive emotions. Life is always 50-50. Okay, and when we know that, we can take control over it. And now, by the way, you know why procrastination seems as something we do beyond our control. Like we don't want to do it, but we do it. But because your primitive brain is going straight to, we ain't doing that because that's scary. But when you know that emotion is not scary, you allow yourself to feel the emotion, then things get easier. Okay, so how many of you are already bored? Luca is laughing. Yeah, guys. Well, I really hope that was helpful. Like, I can keep talking a lot more on that topic, but I think that for now, this is really the most important thing you need to know. And also we're gonna have a little Q&A in a little bit. If you have any, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. You're awesome. I'm so glad that you spent this hour and a half with me. I really hope you got the most value. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that some of that information can totally change your life. Whatever resonates with you, just take that. Okay, just take that and implement that. It was a pleasure having you, and I wish you all an amazing, amazing week ahead. Write out your visions, write out your goals, write out your whys, and let's get this week started fresh and excited and motivated. Okay, I'll see you guys. Bye.